to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what feminism means for me and just basically about my journey of making that a part of my identity. I am still working on some new reviews and everything for you guys since we wrapped up Lovecraft Country. Thank you again for joining me on that journey of reviewing that incredible show. If you're new here, I highly encourage you to go back through my videos and watch my recaps of Lovecraft Country, Insecure, I May Destroy You. So while I'm gearing up to find some new things to review about television, I just wanted to share with you guys another of my interests, something that's really, really important to me and a huge part of my identity as a Black woman, especially as we are anxiously awaiting to see what's going to happen with this election. I'm incredibly nervous about it. This is a part of my creative outlet so that I don't get too in my head about it because I'm pretty freaked out, a little bit nervous. I did vote, of course. And a good friend of mine, Nikki Lauren, hey boo, love you, posted this really awesome video by Vice that they had this diverse group of conservative women and more progressive liberal women discussing what feminism means to them. And I was so moved by that conversation. I'm gonna put a link to it in the episode description because I really want for everyone to watch it. I think there's a little bit for everybody in that video. I thought that the discourse was really, really interesting, and I felt really seen and really I felt like a strong connection or sisterhood with some of the women in that video. And I actually reached out to, well, one of them reached out to me because I posted a couple of clips from the video on my Instagram. So shouts out to her. That really meant a lot to me because, again, I think that it's a huge part of just sisterhood. Means a lot to me. I'm a girl's girl. I'm a people person. I've been learning how to have boundaries around that. But I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about why I identify as a feminist, how I arrived there. So just a little bit of background about me. I'm 33. I am obviously African American. I'm from Atlanta, and I was raised around a lot of Black people. I didn't realize how much of a privilege it was until I moved away and met people who didn't have that experience. So I've always had a really healthy and grounded sense of identity in being a Black person. I never felt like it was anything that was lesser. I also had the benefit of growing up in the 90s. So everything that I saw around me was Black. Teachers, principals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, business owners, everyone was Black. And there was so much Black TV. It was the heyday, the golden era of Black film and television. So I saw myself as a Black person reflected everywhere. But I always questioned so many things about being a girl and being a woman. There were so many things that just didn't make sense to me or didn't add up to me. And when I would question them, it felt like nobody else really thought the same way. And I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'm crazy. And, you know, I grew up internalizing a lot of misogyny, not knowing that that's what it was. So a huge part of what feminism has done for me was giving me the language to express what some of that was. Example, my mom worked a whole lot when my brother and I were younger, and I was really raised like a village. You know, friends and family really came together to help my mom out with us a lot. And I always wanted to be with my brother. I kind of think my brother's like my best friend. He's a much better person than I will ever be in a lot of regards. And I felt safer being with him, especially because some of the people who helped my mom to raise us weren't always very nice to me. And a huge part of that was people were much harder on me because I was a girl and he was given so much more freedom. And I just remember always wanting to be with him because I felt safer, and just asking, like, you know, can I go to the park with my brother? And it's like, no, you being fast. Why you want to go and be around all those boys? And I'm like, I could give a shit about the other boys. I don't want to be here with you, bitch, so let me go be with my brother. You know, and it was always so much pushback because I've always been this way. I've always been loud. I've always been outspoken. I've always had an opinion, and constantly being shut down for that reason and not having the language to articulate what it feels like and why that was happening. And as I got older, I continued to have that feeling in the back of my mind of something is not right. So on the side of that, as I was growing up, to me, a feminist was Jessica Spano from Saved by the Bell. It was a white woman who had big curly hair, probably didn't shave on her arms, wore boho clothing, and she was draining, and she hated men, and she was constantly going on a diatribe about something, and it was just like, girl, can you sit down? No, you know, that was what I thought a feminist was. Even the character on Legally Blonde, it was where she was just like, you know, we want to turn the semester into the O-vester, and it was just like, shut up. You know, I always thought that feminists were draining ass white women. Still true. We'll get there though. I was introduced to feminism as a Black woman. This is gonna sound so basic, but by Beyonce. You get there how you get there. Hold your judgments. And don't drop down in my comments with no bullshit either, okay? What really spoke to me was on the song, was it Flawless? Where Beyonce quoted Chimamanda. There were these excerpts from her TED Talk, and so much of what she said resonated with me, and I remember listening to it over and over and over again, and like, this is what I've been feeling. This is this nagging thing in the back of my mind that we do tell women to shrink themselves. We do tell women that the best and most thing that they can ever be is a wife and a mother, and you know, we're socializing women to prioritize male relationships in their lives, but we don't teach women to be competitive in other areas that are more tangible and that you can control more. And I just remember sitting there like, this is it. And it felt like something in me had been activated, and I felt seen in a way that I think being seen is maybe an overused term. For me, it's feeling a sense of community with a person in a space where you never really quite experienced it before. It's unlocking something in you that you didn't even know was there. And from hearing that excerpt in Flawless, I listened to Chimamanda's entire TED Talk, which was taken which was an excerpt from her essay or a collection of essays called We Should All Be Feminists. And I remember reading that book, and I was just like, I'm not crazy. That's what this is. That's what this thing is that I've been feeling for so long. I really did not know that feminism was for Black women. I didn't know that feminism was for girly girls like me. Like, I like makeup. I'm almost a drag queen. I am a very heteronormative, feminine presenting woman. I'm very curvy. Pink is my favorite color. I would put pink everywhere in my life if I could. I freaking love it. And I've always been very girly, but I also would do shit like climb trees in my Jessica McClintock Easter dresses, you know. So for me, feminism is this ever evolving definition. You know, it is just seeking equality for the sexes, but I think that feminism is for everybody. When we talk about wanting to topple patriarchy and these systems that have been in place mostly by very wealthy, powerful white men, I wish that more people understood that feminism is for everybody. Everyone benefits from feminism. Everyone could benefit if we could topple the patriarchy. The same energy that tells Black people and non-Black people of color and immigrants and the disabled and LGBTQ people and all of these other intersections of people, the same entities that are telling all these groups that they are somehow lesser, that they are somehow not deserving, that same racism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, all of that comes from patriarchy. Racism comes from patriarchy. And I get so discouraged when I hear Black people, especially Black women, buy into the conspiracy theories that, you know, feminism was created to break down the Black family and it's meant to divide the family, and that is just so far from the truth. One of my favorite commentators, comedians, TV producers, podcasters, Larry Wilmore, has this test that he says this is how you can tell that someone is trying to give you a conspiracy theory. They want you to question overt facts that are right there in black and white, and they want you to swallow bullshit. So people who come to me and say that, you know, abortions were created to kill the Black family, no. No. Or that the CIA created feminism to divide the Black family. No. I think that there are a lot of things that did happen and that currently happen that create a lot of divisiveness within our community. Feminism is not one of them. Women saying that they want to be treated fairly is not bringing down the Black family. And for me, I think anyone who would tell you that you wanting to be paid a livable wage on par with your male counterparts, that that's somehow bringing down a Black family, ask them why. Pull at that thread and don't just accept that. The other thing too that I find troubling is it's just about choices. I don't like every woman. I don't. And early on in my learning what my identity was as a feminist, I was like, does this mean that I have to like all women? It doesn't. I don't have to like you. I don't have to agree with you. I could think that you're a fucking idiot. But by virtue of me knowing and understanding what it is to be a woman, what it is to be a Black woman, I still support your right to choose your life however you want to choose it, up until the point that it negatively affects other women. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about the video that I mentioned, which prompted me to do this video, is they had a really great conversation. One of the women identified as a feminist, but is a pro-lifer. And I'm like, now how the hell you gonna call yourself a feminist, but then tell other women that they shouldn't be allowed to choose what happens to their bodies? And I don't want to spoil it. I really want you guys to watch that because it led to a really interesting middle ground. But I think it's such a fraught term because feminism early on excluded anyone who wasn't a white, straight Christian woman. So I understand a lot of people have a lot of issue with the term feminism. You know, I have friends who believe a lot of the shit that feminism stands for, but will absolutely not call themselves that. I also learned through this process or this journey of exploring this part of my identity, there are a lot of Black women who refuse to use the term feminist and prefer to call themselves womanists, which is specifically like for Black women. I don't know if it's for women of color or just Black women, but that's, you know, where they feel that there's more community. I didn't know anything about that when I first learned about feminism. And for me, going to marches, going to speeches, and growing in community with other women who identify as feminists but who aren't Black, I felt a strong sense of community in those spaces. I had the pleasure of attending the Gloria Steinem play here. It was phenomenal, and they let me lead the talking circle at the end, you know, as a writer and, you know, I guess media personality or whatever you want to call me. And the sense of community that I felt with all of those women was it was very powerful for me. So that's why I'm comfortable calling myself a feminist. I don't think that it's a perfect term. I don't agree with all feminists on all things because I don't think that feminism is a monolithic belief. I think that we're all going after the same thing, but we all have different ideas of what that thing is and how to get there. For me, I just want people to be able to choose their life path without obstruction from all of these systems. And that applies to men too. I wish that more men understood the ways in which patriarchy affects them. There are so many men who want to be stay-at-home dads, but who get looked down upon for, you know, for not being the breadwinner. Toxic masculinity is one of the, for me, from my perspective, I think toxic masculinity is like number 2 in what's what's causing problems within our community. We have so many outside forces, but internally, I really wish that Black men weren't subjected to this incredibly high standard of masculinity that's been imposed upon them. Breaking that down is a part of feminism. You know, everyone wins when women get to speak, when women are believed, when women get to be listened to. You know, and like I said, I don't believe everything that every feminist believes. There are some feminists who think that it's wrong for a woman to change her last name when she gets married. Girl, I don't give a shit. Do what you, if you want to fill out all that paperwork, fill out all that paperwork. What that got to do with me and how you live your life? I want you to have the choice. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom for your whole life, if you want to have 16 kids and make lunches every day and cook and clean for your husband, I support you. I want you to have the choice. If you are put in a position where you need to have an abortion, I want you to be able to do it safely. I wish that people understood when it comes to abortion, what people are saying is that they just want people to be able to do it safely. If a person does not want a baby, they're gonna find a way to not have that baby. At least facilitate a way that they can do it safely, you know? Because what you do with your uterus ain't got nothing to do with me. So, you know, these are just some of the things that I have learned and come to explore. And one of the women in the video said something that really struck me, which was that feminism has been a lens through which she has learned about her identity. I connected with that so much, because when you learn something new that makes you feel empowered, that makes you feel seen, that makes you feel whole, that gives you a sense of community, you want to tell everybody. And I remember learning all of these feminist concepts and like all of these ways that patriarchy has been harmful to so many people, and just wanting to share it with so many people and it not being received, and having friends vehemently deny, like, don't call me a feminist, you know, whatever. And a huge part of finding your identity is maintaining it even when no one agrees with you, even when you're standing alone, because you know what it also means? Even if you don't agree with me, I still have to defend your right to disagree with me. It's not an easy road. I think a lot of women too are afraid to call themselves feminists because I think they feel like it's gonna scare men off. I had a guy tell one of my friends a long time ago, no man would ever want to date someone like Jessica. And I remember the time being really hurt, because I'm like, you know, what the fuck does that mean? And through, you know, again, growing in community with other like-minded people, not even just women. I have several guy friends who are very proud feminists who are, you know, married to women. I don't know if I have any gay guy friends who are feminists. I'm gonna have to ask them, I'm not sure. But, and I came to understand, you know, exactly what that meant. And I think that it's, you know, it's not easy, but why would I change my tone and pretend that this isn't a part of my identity and then get a person who doesn't know the real me? Okay, great. You know, and having the confidence to stand alone, having the confidence to, a huge part of something that I've been working through as well, you know, speaking to identity, is that I suffer a lot from depression. I have 100% been suicidal before in my life. And what makes that really hard, in addition just to feeling trapped inside your own body and inside of your own feelings, is you think that you are alone. You think that no one in the world has ever experienced what you have experienced. And I remember for most of my life doing a lot of really people-pleasing activities because I wanted to feel validated. I wanted to have a sense of belonging because I felt so alone in that depression. And working through my identity as a Black feminist woman has really helped me to care so much less about whether or not people approve of me. There are so many friends who I have had to look at so much, you know, with very different eyes because of the things that I believe in, their absolute refusal to honor women, to protect women. So it means a lot to me to have this be a part of my identity. It's not the totality of me, you know. I contain multitudes like all of us do. So that's just a little bit about me, just something I wanted to share with you guys. I think that feminism is an ever evolving term. I think that it's very individualized of how you practice or how you express it, and I'm learning to be more open to other people's expressions of feminism. What I will not abide is telling other women how to live their lives. I think for the very radical feminists who you know, speak against women who get married and who have children, I think that speaking against them makes you just as bad as the patriarchy that you're claiming to want to topple. We are not allowed to choose people's lives for them unless, you know, unless a person is directly hurting other people and directly hurting themselves. You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose how they worship. You don't get to choose who they sleep with. You don't get to make their reproductive choices. And I don't know, it's made me feel really empowered as a person. And I think in a lot of ways, the friendships that I've made through feminism have really saved my life in a lot of ways. You know, I met my therapist through one of my feminist friends. It was a referral, and that literally saved my life. So it means a lot to me that, you know, feminism is just equality for the sexes. It's freedom of choice for people to be, to do, to live, to present, to exist, to love, to live how they want to. That's really it for me. I'm just pro-choice across the board. Choose your life. And I don't think that there should be systems imposed upon you that prevent you from being your truest self. I think we're all born with divine purpose, and I think that a huge part of feminism is making sure that people have the right and the resources and the freedom and the ability to pursue that purpose. I can't remember where I heard the concept, but there's this concept that, you know, we're all living in a book that's written by the same hand. And I think when you take away people's choices to be the character they were meant to be in that book, I think you ruin the story. So that's what feminism is to me. I'm happy to discuss with anybody. I'm gonna make a couple of book recommendations, a couple of video recommendations in the episode description. You know, I'm really just trying to create content that I wish was there before for myself, things that I would like to see. So drop down in the comments. I'm happy to discuss. Keep it cute though, be respectful, don't come at me crazy. And like I said, I just want to emphasize this. I deeply understand a lot of Black women and women of color's reluctance to take up the term or the mantle. I super respect any Black woman or woman of color who identifies as a womanist. I still love and support you. And I get it, but this is how I define why I'm comfortable using the term, and ain't nobody really gonna tell me what the fuck I can and can't say anyway, so hey, that's me. So thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll be back soon. Bye.